Um, Thank you very much, JP, for coming to my channel. I am Miyoko Sano, and for the new people, I'd like to first introduce myself. I'm a writer and speaker and lecturer in Japan, living in Tokyo. And I grew up in England and I studied in Japan. And then I got married to a diplomat, and I became ambassador's wife in Switzerland and Denmark. And I've been a conference interpreter in UN and many televisions and many places. And I've translated the best-selling book, The Secret, which is like 30 million copies around the world. And so I became just a little bit known in Japan. And then after that, I became outreach facilitator for the Monroe Institute, the official one. And then I wrote the books about life after death. And then since then, I've been writing about the world, the battle between light and dark. And some of my books became Amazon #1 in Japan. And then recently I started translating the book from Elena Danaan, 3 of her books. And I've organized the event for Elena last year 2 times for Japanese people. And this time in June this year, I would like to have JP come together with Elena to Japan. So that's the main reason why I'm interviewing JP. So that's my introduction. So JP, I know you're already very popular and known, but some of the people in my channel may not know you that well. So can you please introduce yourself?
My name is JP. JP is a pseudonym for my real name. And I wear this helmet for my protection of my face and also the protection of my identity, because I used to be in the military here in the United States. So I'm just bringing out information, bringing out what is truth, bringing out what is love, and bringing out things that people, I think, need to hear. So I was born in upstate New York, in Middletown, New York is a small town. From there, I lived a little bit in Puerto Rico. I lived a little bit in Florida. So I still live in Florida. So in Florida, I made my family. So I started getting contacted when I was a young boy in upstate New York. One of my first experiences was me following an orb into the woods, and everything froze, and I closed my eyes and I ended up back on the bed. Similar to my first experience that I really had in Brazil. So I started having experiences in different places and all that. My father, he also had experiences too. So it's a generational thing that has been happening throughout my family. It seems to affect me, my dad, my grandparents, my great-grandparents. They all have stories of these things that they interacted with. So it's quite interesting that once I had the experience in Brazil, they decided to take me into different places to interrogate me about my experience of what happened in Brazil. And then I ended up in the military. And I've been at it since a long time with Dr. Michael Sala, bringing information that we are allowed to hear.
Okay, thank you. Of course, I knew you from Dr. Michael Sala, and you have been on his channel more than, I think, maybe 30 times? No? Many.
I think it's like a little bit more than that, 44.
Yeah,
Like that.
I was checking the videos last night. Oh, so many you did on his channel. And I think I followed most of it because it was so interesting. And so I got a little bit confused because sometimes you send message in Portuguese on, I think Portuguese, not Spanish. Was it Spanish? on Dr. Michael Sada's channel. So I kind of had this prejudice that you may be a Brazilian. You're from a Spanish language country.
So I was born in New York, and my parents, they're from Puerto Rico, an island. It's a beautiful island where the Taino Indians used to live. Ancient people that connect with the stars, and they tie their hair with the trees, just like Avatar. So it's a really interesting. Taínos Indians are really interesting. So yeah, my family's from Puerto Rico. My wife, she's from Brazil.
So your wife speaks Portuguese and your parents speak Spanish.
My parents speak Spanish.
Oh, that's why you speak Spanish, Portuguese, and English very well.
Yes.
Oh, I see. So because yes, you have a very strong connection with Brazil, I thought. And that's why I'm always talking about Brazil. So your wife is from Brazil, but does she speak good English now?
She speaks English, Spanish, Portuguese, and a little bit of French.
Wow, you are very genius. And I remember you said you went out into the woods following the light orb. Do you remember what age was that?
I was around maybe between 7 and 11, around that age.
Oh, I see. You don't exactly remember what age, but around 7 to 11. Wow. So that's your first experience, but maybe you had more before that you don't recognize or you don't remember.
I probably had more in between my military career. So, it's just, they black them out.
So you said your father had experience and your grandfather. So you mean they were both being on the UFO?
My father had an experience in the middle of Puerto Rico. He saw a big star-looking ship that went over the mountain, and then it went into the lake.
Wow.
And it disappeared. But throughout that time, there was a loss of time. So something happened. But I don't think he wants to tell me the full spectrum of his story yet.
Oh, I see. Maybe later on. How about your mother? Not much on your mother's side?
Not much on my mother's side.
Okay.
Yeah, my mother is my mother, my beautiful mom.
Your beautiful mother. Okay. So you said you were integrated by them. When you say they integrated, who are they? Is it military people that after all you had these experiences in Brazil, you were taken somewhere and interrogated?
Yeah, I was interrogated in a place near MacDill Air Force Base. And they were asking me questions about what I saw in Brazil.
So were they military people?
I don't know if they were military people, but there was somebody interrogating me. So they did have like a type of uniform and all that, but they were just interrogating me, asking me what I saw in Brazil, what happened, what are these egg ships you're dealing with, who is that coming out from the egg ship, how do you know him, da da da. So they were just asking me random questions about my experiences and how I was taking these pictures of these flying triangle ships, cylindrical ships that made it to the Tampa Bay Times. And it's really interesting that it went mainstream like 10 years ago, something like that, I think.
Oh, did it? Oh, in which media? In America or?
Yeah, media, Tampa Bay Times.
Tampa Bay Times.
Cylindrical UFO, Tampa Bay Times.
Oh, really? Wow. So that means these people that you don't know who they are, they seem to have followed you, or they knew what was going on. So
yeah, they know, they have the technology, to know everything.
So they could be from the light side, the good people?
They could be, but by the way they were treating me, I think they were from the Black Hats.
Wow. So that was maybe a little bit scary.
Yeah, it could be scary when you're in a situation like that because you
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what to expect. You don't know
yeah,
if they're gonna grab, you know,
yeah.
eliminate you. So you
Because
don't know.
they sound a little bit rude when in
Yeah,
this common sense. They don't say who they are and they're just asking so many questions, and that's very rude and scary situation.
yeah,
Wow.
they talk to you rude, but you have to maintain your composure. Look
Mhm.
at them, look straight to their eyes, and just don't 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 show fear.
Oh, I see. So you shouldn't show your fear when when you're in that kind of situation. Oh, I see. Oh, that's good. And so after that, you were recruited by the military, U.S. military, and so you had no hesitation in going into the military.
Um, I always, since I was 6 or 5, I was always driving a military like bicycle that had military on it. So joining the military, I think I always wanted to, but I didn't know I was gonna join, you know, or like later on in my life.
Wow.
So when this situation happened about me joining the military, the person that told me to join said, "Hey, we're gonna stop bothering you as much if you join the military." So I decided to join the military. So I went, I passed my test, and I decided to go airborne, and I did some other things that took me some other places, and from there on was history.
So that's army, but you weren't in the space force. I thought you were a member of space force, but you're officially in the military, at the army.
Well, everything branched out from the army, so
Okay, so your uniform would be like an army uniform, not space force uniform. Okay,
not space force, but U.S. Army,
okay. And so can
the best
you
military in
talk?
the world.
Okay, thank you. Can you talk more about your contact with the Nordics, please?
The contact with the Nordics, every time we have a contact with the Nordics, you feel like a sense of happiness, a sense that you belong living with each other. Every time I interact with a Nordic, my I feel that my blood pressure slows down, but in a happy way. And you feel a sense of calm in your whole body. And that sense of calm actually helps you telepathic communication. So when your body is calm, the vibration, you can sense the vibration of whatever frequency they're they're reflecting from their brain, and you can feel it in your brain, and that's when the language of telepathy happens. So your body is in a calm state. So your body has to be really relaxed in order to communicate telepathic. So if you're tense and you're moving hard, you can't communicate telepathic. Your body has to be in a sense of calm, in a sense of love, in a sense of communication, eye to eye. Once you have that contact, that's when telepathy happens. So people, I think, need to understand a little bit more the science of the consciousness and the brain and how it works and how it can help in the future with people that have paralysis problems. So it's going to be an interesting ride when all these technologies come out and help alleviate that telepathic communication.
Oh, I see.
With the Nordics, that's how it works. The communication
Uh,
with the Nordics is a loving communication. So you just feel love when you interact with a Nordic being.
so the Nordics that you had contact with, they usually came on the spaceship. And they didn't teleport, but they came on a certain spaceship.
They
And
come on spaceships
mhm.
or certain types of capsule looking ships.
And so you're very very special. I think because you have these photographs and even videos, right, of these spaceships. And
I
maybe,
do. I do. I got proof.
and maybe you might have a photograph of the Nordic. No?
I had a video of me ripping a Nordics shirt,
Uh-huh.
and then the shirt liquefied in my hand and turned
Really?
into water and sprinkles and went down like that. I got that video, so it's gonna be really interesting if I release it.
Yeah, that's so precious. Wow. So you mean that the material liquefied?
So the
Uh-huh.
Nordic wanted to leave me, and I'm like, don't leave me. And I grabbed his shirt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
When I grabbed his shirt, it
Uh-huh.
ripped, and I didn't know where he went, but I had the shirt, and I started recording the shirt. It dissolved in my hands, like out of
Wow.
existence.
So all your experience is so very extraordinary that, lots of ordinary people is going to have difficulty first understanding what you're talking about. But we have to get used to it gradually,
Yeah,
listening to your presentation or your these kind of interviews to really get, used to it because our mind will resist in the beginning. Wow.
yeah. But now, but now different governments are confirming that non-biologicals exist, and that interdimensional beings exist, and that everything is made by vibration. If you study what is quantum entanglement in quantum physics, so I think people are realizing that we live in the supernatural and spiritual and type of world, that it's mixed in with other dimensions, and we have people in our dimension that are visiting us as well, that are high in technology as well. So it's going to be an amazing ride, and I think different governments. I'm going to start bringing more information about this, information about technology, about ETs, about different ships that we have in the space programs that are unclassified, and different information on what is AI.
Yes, thank you. Well, I was going to ask you many questions about your experience in space, but actually, as you mentioned about quantum physics, about consciousness, as I translated The Secret, and I used to go to school of Ramtha, which teach that you're a creator and talks all about these quantum physics, and everything is vibration, as you say. And so I understand, I know that, but it's very difficult to really understand. So, for example, actually, if everything is vibration, not solid, if you really close your eyes and go deep into meditation, do you think that everything that exists in this world might just be wave and vibration and no solid? Do you know what I mean? But
In the
once you
in the
once
in,
once
in
you
the
observe,
microscopic,
yeah, once you observe, it become like the solid
yeah,
would.
yeah. Once you observe it, it becomes a solid. But everything is in a wave form in your brain, in your consciousness. So it it's when you get into the rabbit hole of what we are and what we're capable of doing, it's amazing what the human brain and the human body can endure and do.
Yes, sorry to jump, but because I've been teaching this consciousness, this kind of thing was very popular in Japan, the secret, that, your dream comes true and you need to visualize and, power of consciousness, those kind of things people love to listen to. But when I start this lecture about this battle between dark and light, it's less popular. People don't want to listen to about human trafficking and those kind of dark themes. But, I think eventually it would be everybody would love to know really more about power of our mind and consciousness because everybody can use it, even if you don't have anything, even if you're homeless, you can do that. And I've really seen people that really change their life dramatically using their power of mind. So, JP, you could be doing that kind of lecture as well, right?
I would love to teach how the power of the mind can control the world that you live in.
Because, lots of people in Japan is very miserable. Only certain people are very successful and happy. But, when you don't have anything that you think you're very poor and you don't have luck and they think, how can I survive? But these people, they can just change their life dramatically using powerful mind. They don't need to get a new job or a new husband or anything, right?
Yeah. I believe that we have the ability to make others happy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
have the ability to make others understand what is the true love and how it can affect the world by only you.
JP, when you are kind of have lots of problems and unfortunate things happen, is it right to really close your eyes and go deep inside? Died and what I do is like I really think that I'm center of universe and I'm the creator, so I can decide what's going to happen in the future, not other people. Is that right? Do you know what I mean?
It could be in a way, depending of who you surround yourself with too. So that can affect the outcome of what you think about in life. So that's why a lot of things get mixed up because you surround yourself with other energies that are thinking different things. So sometimes there's a block.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we just have to also be worried when you are doing something for yourself in the mindset. You gotta be worried about the people around you as well because everybody's gonna either go up or go down.
Okay, okay, thank you. Yes, and we always should do based on love and gratitude. Always grateful. That's the key, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the key.
okay. So I'm going back to the very important subject. You can you please explain all the places that you have visited, Moon and Mars and
So my experiences, yeah, I've passed by the moon. I been on the moon. I've been past Mars. I've been past Jupiter. I've been seeing. I saw the rings of Saturn, certain moons like Ganymede, Titan. Uh, Ganymede is a moon in Jupiter. Titan is a moon on Saturn. Uh, I've been in certain parts of inner Earth on different places in the Atlantic and the Pacific. I've been South America in a lot of different places. What can I say? Also,
Europa?
oh yeah, I've been all over Europe.
No, 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 no. I
All
mean
over.
Europa, the moon of Jupiter.
The
Is
thing,
that
yeah,
Europa?
I've
Europa.
been there. Yeah, we have a beautiful base there. It's just so many places. You know,
Yeah.
when you come to the United States, right, you visit every town, every place, and when you go back home, you only remember two or three.
I see, I
You
see. Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. So you visited so many places, but at least we can take pictures when we go on a tour. So you have certain kind of way that you record it, all the places that you visited.
I'm sure people already recorded certain events in Earth or certain events in around Jupiter or Saturn. I know certain governments already recorded certain events that I think we released. I don't know when, but I think we record everything. Yeah, because of teaching purposes, we need to record as well different situations when we go into different missions. So I'm sure everything has cameras and has video, but we don't know where this data of video of these ships that they fly, they have cameras, they got security, they got security personnel that uses video, but this data, a lot of people think this data goes somewhere else that we constructed a place, right, that this data goes there. So I guess let's see what happens. Hopefully this information comes out.
So you have been to so many places that you don't even remember everything. But all these missions, some of them by military and some of them by just Nordics, and some of them are mixed up, both.
Yeah. I also
Okay.
saw people that look like us, but they look like ants. The ant people. They look similar to us, but they got just bigger eyes, smaller lips. You know, this is different. You know, when you see them, and their body is more slinky than us. So
So you joined the military. So many of your missions are done as a military soldier or special forces, or I don't know your position. So you had other soldiers with you to do the mission. You're not
yeah,
only the one, others.
there's other soldiers,
Okay.
other soldiers that went with me, and they all had different types of missions. So when I was home, they were probably doing another mission somewhere else. So, but there's an other batch of people that don't live here, that they live in space. So those people are unaccounted for, you know. So people need to understand that there's no stats on these people that work in space. There's no stats on Earth. That's kept somewhere else.
So you mean they were human military members that actually is not living or working on Earth, but they're actually working or even living in somewhere in space, you mean? But they are
Yeah.
human and they were born on this Earth, and they don't miss living on this Earth. They come back, or maybe you don't know.
They signed to work in space. So
Oh, I see.
you
I
know,
see. Wow.
whatever the contract is, that's what they do. After the contract, yes, they can come back to Earth, but I don't
Wow.
know how they get their data back, like what information, or they probably get that data from somewhere else and brings it back to Earth, like if they were always here. So it follows them, you know. So it's really interesting. What I think a lot of things is gonna be revealed.
I think you said there were other nationalities, Chinese, or you saw someone. What kind of nationality did you see in your mission from the military?
Yeah, I saw Chinese, I saw Russian, I saw Brazil, I saw India, I saw Japanese. I see a lot of different governments working together.
Oh, you even saw Japanese.
Oh yeah, different uniforms and all that. Yeah, but I know what the Japanese flag look like.
Really? So are they like a soldier? The army, the Japanese people? They can
Yeah,
really fight in the battle?
everybody's dressed their flat like dressed in black with their flags, so you could tell who is who.
But their mission is not like astronauts. Are they like a soldier? They can actually fight with guns? Or are
Yeah,
they
yeah.
more like a research people? Hmm?
Every person that is part of the military, we train first how to shoot and
Oh,
eliminate
I see,
people.
I see, I see.
So everybody has the ability to eliminate.
So they are basically a person who can fight in battles.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Danny talked me about your experience in the restaurant, when somebody dropped the plate and then you kind of really reacted as a real soldier.
Yeah. Yeah. It turns on.
That's so funny. You should do that on the stage in Japan. That would be so funny. Wow, your information is so precious because, I know all these kind of things from Dr. Michael Sala, but somebody who really talk about the real experience is very, very important because for Japanese, it's very difficult to imagine that Japanese would be up in space doing these kind of missions. Who are they?
I'm sure there's military Japanese that has been to space. I'm sure.
Yeah. And Sasha Stone even talked about the Japanese space mission in Saturn or something a long time ago.
A 9-year-old girl born in France was abducted by gray aliens when she was young.
The Greys implanted a remote monitoring device called a hyperdimensional tracker deep within the girl's brain, inserting it into the rear of her skull. However, she was fortunate enough to be rescued by benevolent extraterrestrials. The ones who saved her at that time were Sohana Lydian, a high commander of the Galactic Federation, and his team, who came from space. Afterward, they hacked the hyperdimensional tracker implanted in her head and tuned its frequency to prevent the Greys from accessing it. That wasn't all they did. Using this device, Sohan Eledion of the Galactic Federation transformed it so that he could contact her at any time. They discovered a groundbreaking method that allowed seamless communication, as if making a phone call using the implanted device in her brain, granting her complete freedom to connect with them whenever needed. This is not channeling, but rather a thoroughly practical method utilizing advanced technology. Tracing back to her past life, she was a starseed who had taken on a grand mission to aid in Earth's salvation. She shed her physical body while living in the Pleiades star cluster, leaped into a Stargate portal, and entered the womb of a human mother on Earth, reincarnating with a purpose.
Information about extraterrestrials and UFOs is emerging. According to Sohan Eledion of the Galactic Federation, my point of contact, this is what he has said.
She is also a field archaeologist with a PhD.
There is an ancient ark beneath Mount Fuji, but are there any others in Japan or elsewhere?
32 or 34, there is an ark in the world?
She has traveled back and forth between Earth and spacecraft countless times since childhood. She was later appointed as a special envoy of the Galactic Federation and is now fully dedicated to her role, despite facing many dangers.
Thorhan said, the reason he accepted is because disclosure is needed in Japan.
Why is disclosure necessary in Japan?
Sohan Eledion said, because the Japanese people should know more about what is happening.
However, there are those who find what she reveals inconvenient and oppose her. Despite this, she continues her mission, always putting her life on the line. She is targeted because she is a genuine extraterrestrial contactee and a key figure in disclosure. Her name is Elena Danaan. This year, Elena Danaan is coming to Japan, brought to you by Miyoko Sano, the best-selling author who has awakened human consciousness. June 6, 2025. At a venue in Ginza, Tokyo, the special envoy of the Galactic Federation will share first-hand information from the Galactic Federation, along with a message of love and inspiration.